This is Irontrader, and this is the last call of the day. So we'll take a look here at Bitcoin, and we'll look at that Ethereum, ETF, ETHU, and we'll take a look at gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And we'll take a look at the indexes, which are coming back here a little bit right now. Okay, at the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, sell, any stock, about ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin, daily chart and your weekly chart. All right, okay, so we had this double top situation, and now we have this downtrending channel going on here. Your RSI is only sitting at 44. That's not overbought or oversold. And your green is below your red, showing momentum to the downside, which we possibly have here. Okay, so very, very easy. Now today actually was pretty good trading in the BITX. Got as low as 51.73 and as high as 54.39. So that was some really good action going on here in the ETF. Okay, now that's a 2 times leverage ETF. You can also go IBIT, and that's just a 1 time, which matches up pretty nicely. Okay, let's take a look at the chart now. What we got here, okay, you can see here how we popped up through the 8-day 21, couldn't hold it, came right on down, okay? Then we popped up there, couldn't hold it, popped up there Friday, and then popped up there today, but we couldn't hold this key 8 SMA. So upside here, this is what you're watching. This is very, very critical. You have to close above that 111.854, okay? That is, you have to do that, okay? And again, if we can get above that, then we'll come right over top of this candle, 112.785. We'll come up to Friday's high, 113.390. Top of that candle, 113.540, and then right here is the big boy at 114.470. That is your 50-day simple moving average. Now, if you get above it, you got 115.235, which is your 21-day, but this is going to be very, very strong. Strong resistance is going to be this 8-day, the 50-day, obviously, and the 21-day. Now, if we can get above all that, then we have a nice shot right there, 117.315. We have 117.640. Follower candles up, 118.350. Top of that candle, 119.810. And then we have 127.55, and then always look to the left, 121.255. Then we'll have a little sticky up here at 122.955. Then we're looking at this bad boy here at 123.615 and work yourself up to that 125.200 level. But right now we have a downtrending situation, and you have to close above the 8-day. If you can't close above it, you're not going higher. It's just that simple. Okay? Now, downside. We want to watch the bottom of this candle. Okay, you're looking at 110.420. All right, we'll come to the bottom there, 109.590, and then we have the bottom there at 108.845, and then we have 108.20, and then we have today's low at 107.790, and then we have this right here, 107.222. Now, you always want to watch that weekly, the 21-day. This here, so far is holding it at 108.232. We need to hold that by Friday. That would be very good. Now, say we lose it and come down to the 50-day. Still got a very, very bullish chart. Okay, see, bottom left, upper right. Okay, we've got a nice series of higher low, and look how nice that 50-day held. So actually, if it came down here, this would be a good buying opportunity. Right now, this is a trading environment because we have the 21 on the bottom, 108.236, and on the top, we have 115.244. Okay, very, very easy. Now, RSI, well, you got to an overbought condition, and now we're sitting here at 56. That's not overbought, oversold. I don't like this where that green crossed over your red. That shows momentum to the downside, and that's pretty much what we have. Okay, now this 8-day, well, that's going to be very, very tough to get above. Okay, but you have to close back above it. Now, you can see here 2 weeks ago we came above and then closed above. Last week we did not close above, but we held that 21-day, and we're holding it so far. So bottom line, what you want to watch is this 8-day. This is very, very critical. Okay, so you want to trade this range. So you want to watch at 111.867 on the top, and we want to watch that 100-day 107.223 on the bottom. So we're trading this range. We get above that 8-day, you're going to go to the 50-day. You get above that 50-day, we're going to go to the 21-day. Go above that, we follow the candles up, maybe even a possible retest. Okay, downside, watch this key level, this 108.239, and then we want to watch that 100-day at 107.223. So we'll just see how that all trades out. Now, here on your RSI, well, you're sitting at 44. That's not overbought, oversold. The green below your red, that shows momentum to the downside, which is, pretty obvious, okay? But remember, we're downtrending here, okay? Always watch these topping tails. When you see those topping tails, that tells you that that long trade is done, at least for right now, all right? So then, a lot of times, you can go have a sideways action like we had here. But again, this is what we have, is a downtrending situation. So trade this market. Very, very easy and very, very nice tradable. 111.867 on the top. And then we were looking at that 100-day, 107.223 on the bottom. So let's see how the futures open at 6 p.m. We get some more trades in there, but BITX has been a phenomenal trade here today. Okay, let's take a look here at gold and silver. No, let's just take a look at that Ethereum here first. All right, we're going to bring this Ethereum here every at the end of the day. We'll bring this into play. I just rush off at the gold and silver because that's what we're used to, but we're going to add this into the old mix. All right, so we had this double top situation. All right, see how nice that is? And then we came down, we're holding it, and now we're below this key 21-day. Now you can see how it rallied up, and you can't get it. It hasn't got above that 21-day. So this is what we're looking at on the upside. We're looking at that 149.38. Now if we can get above that, then we have this gap. Okay, so you want to look at the top 151.08. There's your gap. And look to the bottom of the candle, 153.76. Again, okay, 151.08, there's your gap, and then there's your fill at 153.76. And the key is going to be getting above this 149. The reason I point those gaps and fills out is a lot of times what it is, the price will go right into the gap, okay, and that's where it'll stay, just like we had here, okay? So we had 151.08 on Friday. Today, what do we have? 150. 50. Okay, so you could not get above. So a lot of times it'll stay right in there. Now, once it starts going into there, then it'll go right into this gap, and that gap will be filled at 153.76. And then we have this 8-day at 157.67. So that's really what you really want to watch now is the 21-day, the gap, the fill, and the 8-day. We get above that, well, we just come to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 161.80. We'll come top there at 167.54, and then we work yourself up 171 level, then 174, and then we work yourself back up to that 188 level. But right now, you got a lot of resistance with the 21-day and with that 8 SMA. Now, downside, okay, so we're watching Friday's low, 141.73 level. Now, if we start losing that, then we're going to come to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 136.91 level, and then we're going to come right over here to the top of that candle at 127.69. But then we have this gap. Okay, 127.19. The fill is 125.62. Gap, your fill. And then we can look to the bottom of this candle, 119.44. There's another gap. Okay, and your fill is sitting at 114.44. And then we have your 111.74, which is your 50-day. So just watch these gaps in the fill, gaps and fill. As I say, just like it on the upside, it can come right down to that gap, and it can hold that support, and it can bounce right back up. If it starts getting into it, then you're going to fill the gap. Okay, the same thing that goes on there. And then we have your big target at your 50-day, and then we have your 100-day right below it. Now, we look here, we had negative divergence going on. Okay, so we have a high, a lower high. Okay, we have a high, we have a higher high. Okay, so negative divergence. Now she's coming right on off. And so we got to see how this is all going to shake out. But just watch that 21-day, very, very key, and the 8-day, the gap in the fill. That's all you're on the upside. On the downside, realistically, just watch that bottom, that 136.91. We start losing that, then we're going to start heading this direction right towards that 50 SMA. Now, you look at the weekly chart, we want by Friday, you really want to hold this 8-day, 137.03. That would be good. So I say this is only the start of the week. You got a 4-day week. We got to an overbought condition. It came down. But the key is going to be holding that 8-day. If we do, then we got a good shot right back and retesting that 188.73 level. Okay, now let's look at gold and silver. Here we have gold and silver. Both of them are breaking out. All right. So we got 35.95. So when we were down in this area here, I said if we break out, we break the top of this candle, 35, 34. First of all, we were watching this. You had to close above 35.09. Then we want to break. We'll look at the next one, 35.34. Then I said you're going to go 35.50. Then we're going to go to 3600. Okay. So far today we made 35.95. Now we cracked 3600. Then you're going to look for that 3620 area. That's where we're going to go. Now we're getting here to this red condition. So you're sitting there at 73. So you got to be a little bit careful because that can get into that overbought condition and it can come down. But right now, I said 3600 and getting pretty close. Okay, so you almost got 35.96. So that's pretty close to that situation. Now on the downside, all we have to really do is hold this 35.34 level. That's going to be very, very key. If you lose it, then we come right down here, 35.09 level, and then we come up to the top of there, 34.76 level. Then we have 34.551, but the key level is going to be that 8-day at 34.61, your 21-day at 34.29, and then we have your 50-day sitting at 33.85. Now, I took a nice trade in GLD today. I'm all out of the trade right now. I'm not really a big call and gold and silver trader. I'm more like a crude oil, natural gas, gasoline, and all the tech and Bitcoin. However, when I can see a breakout like we had, okay, I got in late, obviously, but I'm waiting for it that closed back above that, and that's what we did. And I took a nice trade in GLD, so now I'm all out of the situation. But again, that doesn't say I can't get right back in. Okay, so let's just see how this all shakes out. But we had a really nice, good breakout kind of a situation. Your green is over your red. But again, just be careful up here. You're getting to that overbought condition, and we got to see how that shakes out. A lot of times what you want to do is you want to get pulled back right toward the 8-day or let that 8-day catch in. So let's just see if they have a little bit of sideways action. If not, she's going to break 3,600 and go right to 3,620. Just that simple. Okay, here we have the silver. Now, when we're down in this area, I said, as long as if we break above this key level, okay, 39.91. I said, where are you going to go? You're going to go 40, 42, 45, and then head towards 50. Okay. Now, didn't quite make it to 42, but man, did that come close. Okay. 41.995. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay. So always watch it. Now, again, when you look at these blue lines, see these price channels, the price is outside that. It wants to come right back in. Okay. Now, it doesn't come in right away. See, we had 3 candles on the outside. Then it wants to come on in. 2 candles, almost 3 on the outside, and then it wants to come back in. Okay, so just keep that in mind. SLV, that was a nice trade. Again, I am all out of that SLV today. Took a nice little trade, got in late, just like I got in gold. Make no difference. Made some nice money just in the gold and silver, just getting up and trading it. Okay, very, very nice. Now you can see here, we're getting to that overbought condition, same as we have on the gold. Your MACD here is rolling up very nice. Now, not saying it can't go higher. So we crack that 42, then you're going to next target is going to be that 45 level, and then we can head towards that 50 level. Just that simple. So on the downside, you want to watch top of that candle, 40.86 level. Then we want to watch today's low. You're looking at 40.55 level. And then we want to do is come over to the top of this candle, that 39.91. That's going to be very, very key. If we start losing that, then we're going to go right here to your 39.44, your 8-day, your 21-day, and then we have your 50 SMA at 37.98. Very, very simple, okay? But just be a little bit careful when we go outside. So my trades are done in gold and silver, GLD, SLV, easy way to trade it. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil and Natgas. Okay, another 2 really good trades. Crude oil, natural gas, my favorite. All right, so you can see crude oil, I said, been watching this. We get above this. I was talking about last week. If you listen to the video, I said we have this triangle building, okay? And we have the 8-day curling up, 29 down, curling down. When you have that situation, you're going to break up or you're going to break down. In this case, we broke on up. Okay, so now what we have is the 8-day crossed over. So you got 64.13 on your 8-day, and what do we have? 63.82. So let's look at the downside. Okay, so on the downside, this is what your support level is, 65.10. Come down to here, we're looking at 64.70, and then we'll be looking for the 100-day sitting at 64.34. Okay, your next level, 64.13, 18, your 8-day, and then we have 63.82. That is your 21-day. We lose it, we come right to the bottom, 63.35, 62.95, right there, 62.52, 61.83, and then we retest 61.45. Those are your key support levels and your downside targets. Okay, very simple. Upside, I said, watch that 50-day. Where did it go? Right above the 50-day. Did it close above it? Hell no. Look at there. 65.56. That's what you got to be. Now, if you can get above that, we look at today's high, okay? Very nice, 66.03. It will come up top of this candle, 66.75 level, and then we're looking 67.33, your 200-day. Now, we get above that, we look to the bottom, 68.45. We have 68.56, top of that candle, 67.05. Then right there, 70.51. That's your big retest. Okay, very easy. But you got to close above the 50-day. You have to close above the 200-day in order to get up there. Okay, now remember, oil is in play here for hurricane season all the way to September, about the first week or so of October. That's when then we can go do a little short ski. And then I believe that crude oil will be going down into the 50 mark. Now remember, OPEC is meeting here this week, and they're going to have an announcement and see what they're going to do, more cuts or what they're going to do, leave things right. Last time they said they're going to add 541,000 barrels per day, and all the volunteer cuts are off the market. Now Russia keeps on pumping there. They can get something resolved in Ukraine. They're going to flood the market. U.S. is pumping like mad. So again, you know, we got a lot of oil coming on the market. So eventually, I think you're going to hit down in the 50s. Not today. And watch this time period. That's what I see. Now remember, the API number will not be out today. It'll be out Wednesday at 4:30, and then the EIA number for crude oil will be out Thursday at 11 a.m. and for natural gas at 10:30, and then your rig count there at 1 p.m. So here's what I want to watch. Just watch that 50-day, 65.56. Very, very key. You close above it, your big target, 67.33. You close above that, right there, 70.51. That's your big target. Downside, very, very simple. Just watch the 100-day, okay? Watch this 8-day, 64.13, and watch that 21-day, 63.82. Okay, you lose that, your big target, 61.45. Now, bottom, look at here, nice. At the bottom, green goes over red, momentum to the upside. This is only sitting at 54, plenty of room to run, but you got to close above that 54. Now, Natgas. Okay, now Natgas looked. How can I put this? Not too good this morning because it looked like it had a nice big topping tail and it was coming on down. However, okay, it came on down, went through the 21-day, held this 8-day, boom. I'm long the UNG. Okay, now UNG got down to 12.30. I didn't get 12.30. I'm in at 12.40 flat. Okay, so I'm in at UNG at 12.40 flat, and you're sitting right now at 12.76. And I believe it's going to go higher. They're predicting a very, very cold winter, but we got to see how that all going to shake out. Now, this is why you trade the charts, okay? All the way down. So now what we're looking at, you're sitting at 3 flat. Nice, okay? So on the downside here, what we're looking at is we're going to be looking at the top of this candle. You're looking at that right here at that 296 level. Then we'll look at that 292 level. And then we're going to come right down here to your 289, your 21-day, and your 8-day sitting there at 285. Now look at this 8-day, how nice this is curling up. That's going to provide very good support like we had today, all right? That crosses over that 21-day. You're going to push that price up towards that 50-day. Now, upside, well, we want to walk to the top of that candle, 302. Then we want to watch 306 level. Then we can come up here to that 314. And then we'll come right there at that roughly 316 level, which is your 50-day. Then we have to see what the reaction is going to be. If say blast rate got up through it, then you got 332, your 100-day, 349, your 200-day. Now you crack above all that, well, then we can go right up here, but you're coming into this time frame where we have this level at that 3.62. Okay, so right now I'm long the UNG, okay, nice. And right here, I am flat, and I'm waiting for at 6 p.m. trade against today's candle, okay, 66.03 top, 66 bottom, and we'll see where we stand. If we crack above that 50-day, I'll be jumping right into that UCO, and we'll take it up to that 200, okay? Now, this is looking good because we held all your key levels of support, and now we got to see how this is going to shake out. Now, it can go a little bit sideways action, but if you look at the MACD, the green is over here, shows momentum to the upside, and then we only sit at 51. Okay, so this is actually looking very good. Okay, we still have a downtrending situation though. Okay, so just remember that. You can go to that 50-day, it's still downtrending. You can go to that 100-day, you're still downtrending. But once we start cracking above these, that downtrend is going to look pretty nasty, and we can take a red on up. So how I trade it is I'm going to stay long the UNG, see what the reaction is at the 50-day. Okay, if it can't get through it, we have sideways action, then I take off the trade. If not, I just maybe even add to the trade, go to 100-day, if it keeps on going a bit, then we go to the 200-day. Okay, so what we're looking at is one level at a time. That's how you trade. That's how you make money. Alrighty, let's take a look here now at the indexes. All right, here we have the indexes. Now you can see where they're coming back. We've got to see how it all closes out there today. Okay, so this was like turnaround Tuesday, which, actually right to the downside. Now, we had this nice stair step going on up here, but we have negative divergence going on here. All right, so now we just gapped right down. So let's look at the upside. You want to look at today's high, 45,287. Then the next level is going to be that 8-day, 45,378. And then we want to look to the bottom of that candle, 45,377. Okay, so that is your gap, your fill, your 8-day, everything is sitting right there. You crack above it, we just follow the candles up, your big target, 45,757. Okay, very easy. Now, downside, we want to watch today's bottoming tail. What do we hit? 44,948. So all you have to do is look to the left of the chart here, 44,952. Okay, see that? 48. See, there's your support level right there. Okay, we lose that, then you got your 21-day. We lose that, we'll come right to the bottom there, 44,579, and then we have right here your 50-day, 44,48349. All right, very, very easy, very, very simple on the thing. Okay, very on the charts. That's why you trade the charts. Now, you can see here how the green is starting to roll over. This is starting to roll over, but again, you still have an uptrending a chart here. You can come all the way down to the 50-day, you still have the uptrending, but just be careful, like I've said a million times in this time frame. Now here, the S&P, same thing, okay? So your gap, okay, is 64.12. Your fill is going to be 64.44, gap fill. But we have that right there, 64.16, your 21-day. Then we have your 8-day. We crack above it. Then we get end for that 65.08 level. Okay, now downside, well, got as low as 63.60 level. What do we have here? You have 63.52, so we're holding that. Next level is going to be right at the bottom, 63.43, and then we have your 50-day sitting right there at that 63.24. Okay, negative divergence going on here. So we got to see how this is going to shake out. Now, Nasdaq looks like it's coming back here now a little bit, but let's just see how it closes at the end of the day. All right, so that's what we want to look at. So we have this Nasdaq situation here, another gap. Okay, so your high 21,284. There's your gap, and then we want a low 21,397. Gap fill, but realistically, just watch that 21-day. Okay, watch that 8-day. We get above that, we can crank right back up here to that 21,803. Now you can see here we made a high and we made a lower high, and now she's dropping off. But we're holding the 50-day. So that's the key support is 29.57. Then we want to come right to the bottom of that candle, 29.05. And then what we want to do is we can just follow all these candles. But just remember, it's a gap and fill right there. Gap and fill right there. Okay. We look here on the old Dow right there. See? Gap and fill right there. Okay. So those are going to be big targets. If we start losing this 50-day situation, that is going to be what we're going to target for before we hit the 100 and 200 SMA. Negative divergence, green below your red, momentum to the downside. Traders market. Okay, so just remember that. Just remember that. Okay, buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. Traders market, traders market, traders market. Just because we're topped out here doesn't mean you can't go. You know what I'm saying? So you can't make money. Okay, so today was a really good money making day for me anyway. BITX, great on the trade. Okay, UNG, that worked out very, very nicely here. Okay, gold, silver worked out very, very nicely. Okay, so there's a lot of natural gas. So again, there's a lot of still trades there. Just if you can't find one thing, just look around and find something else. Okay, very, very easy. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. We'll do it all over again. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.